I am so excited because I haven't done a wrap up in so long. And I feel like this is the perfect month to do one because I had what I would say is a pretty decent January reading month for someone who is grieving and coming out of a slump and like diving back into books and like devouring them headfirst and doing content again. Like, it was such a good reading month, and I didn't even read a lot of books. I also have water because I haven't sat down to yap in such a long time. Like, it's been a minute. It's been a minute. Between wedding planning and seeing my friends again, it's just life has been kind of on an uphill swing. She's been good. She's been great. I found a hairstyle that I'm kind of like absolutely in love with. It took me a minute to figure out how to work with her. I love her. I love her. I love her. Oh, your girl's just happy. She's happy. That's rare and that's scary. So I have all of my stats pulled up right here on Storygraph. I will put them on screen as I'm talking about them. I use the Storygraph to track all my reading. I've thought about using Goodreads recently, but like I have been using Storygraph since I have been tracking my reading. I've been using Storygraph since before it was an app. All of these stats are from the Storygraph. January, I read a total of 4 books, and I know 4 books is not that many books, but I'm so excited as someone who's been in a slump and has just been like not enjoying what she's reading. I read 4 really decent, like 3 decent books. One of them was a reread. I read a total of 124 pages, and I listened to 52.85 hours. Average time it took me to read a book was about 7 days, so like a week for every book I was reading. My top genre of the month was romance, followed by fantasy, contemporary, middle grade, and sport. 25% of what I read was digital and 75% of what I read was audio. My average reading month, because I don't think there's a book I rated, was about a 3.6. I had 2 4 stars and 1 3 star. So we're gonna go in order of like the first book I read to the last book I read of the month. And because we were finishing up with December, holidays, Christmas, your girl was still super, super sad. She is super, super sad, actually. I was finishing a Christmas book, and it's Christmas in Spite of You by Casey Mills. I rated this book 4 stars, okay? Was it a long book? Absolutely. It was like a 270-page book, but I think it was so long because I was taking so many breaks while reading it because I was like, I'm really enjoying it, but I have other things to do. And so it felt like it took me so long to read, but it was so cute and so fun. This is a forced proximity billionaire Christmas Hallmark movie where they kind of like can't stand each other at first and they're slowly starting to enjoy each other's company and like their presence. So Noelle is a entrepreneur. She's trying to launch her own business. She's having a really hard time doing that, and to make money in the meantime, she decides to rent her apartment out Airbnb style while she's home for the holidays. She's not going to be in her apartment. Might as well make a little bit of income off of it. Canton is a billionaire CEO, owner of a company, and he is trying to land this huge business opportunity over the holiday and like kind of avoid his family and not deal with that Christmas stuff. He's a Scrooge. He's a grump. He does not like Christmas, so he's going to work over Christmas. He finds Noelle's apartment building listed and also finds out that the guy he's trying to strike a deal with owns that apartment building and lives in that apartment building. So he's like, maybe I rent out this room, like this apartment, and we can cross paths, make it seem kind of natural. Maybe he'll want to work with me. Maybe he'll want to talk shop and talk business, right? He books that Airbnb hotel room. Noelle gets sick and she's like, I'm not going to see my family. I need to cancel that Airbnb. I need to send them a thing so I don't end up owing all of this money to this company. She ends up not canceling it, falls asleep, and then the next day, Canton shows up and like, what are you doing here? What are you doing here? And they've come to an agreement that because he notices Noelle's like apartment and how sad she is that she's not going home over the holiday, he's like, you need the money, you're kind of lonely, let's decide, like, let's just share the space for a little bit, it'll be fine, you stay out of my way, I'll stay out of your way. That's not what happens. Ensue the cutest Christmas montage ever because they're starting to kind of tiptoe around each other, get to know each other, find out why Noelle didn't go home, why Canton's here in the first place, why does he hate Christmas, why does she love Christmas. It was so cute, and as someone who needed a distraction, this book gave it to me. This book had me kicking and screaming and like giggling like a little girl. Oh my god, Canton. I think someone called him Catan, but I think it's Canton. It's a cute one. It's definitely going on my Christmas recommendation list, and I love that I started off January with like a very cute fun rec. The next book I read, which is a long time coming, is Percy Jackson and the Sea of Monsters. This is the second book in the Percy Jackson original, what is it, like 5 books series that came out. I've like buddy read this with my husband, well, soon to be husband, almost husband, because this is his favorite series that he's ever read, like one of his favorite series from childhood that he's read, and he really wants me to read all of the books. And I told him when I read the first Percy Jackson book that I was not feeling it. I was not in this world. I did not love it. And I think it's because I didn't read it when I was a child. And now that I'm an adult, I can understand that it's great. But like, I'm not 12. I don't relate to this 12-year-old and his plight. But I do really like the storytelling. And so I'm sticking it out. 1 for Percy, 2 for my husband. It follows the son of Poseidon and his adventures into learning that he is a demigod and that there are rules of demigod kids existing. Every book he goes on a quest, and it's like a retelling of a famous Greek myth. This one was, I think, a retelling of the Odyssey. I believe it was a retelling of the Odyssey, kind of almost. But I can't really go into too much detail about book 2 without talking about book 1. And I'm gonna be honest, I don't remember a whole lot of book 1 other than 12-year-old boy finds out he's a demigod, goes on quest. Book 2 is 12-year-old boy knows he's a demigod and now is learning more about being a demigod. Like, it was the second book I read of the year. It was very entertaining. I do recommend the audiobook. And I think I had so much fun with it because I buddy read it with my husband. He has already moved on to the 4th book and I haven't even started the 3rd one. So I think you might see the 3rd one in February or March's wrap up. If you are in the bookish space at all, you will know that the 3rd book in the Fourth Wing franchise, I'm going to call it a franchise because I have no many, like, I'm going to call it a franchise because I don't know how many books are supposed to be in it. I've heard rumors of 5, I've heard rumors of 7, rumors of 10. I don't know. I do know that a lot of my friends and family love this book series. I work at a bookstore. There was a midnight release for it, and I wanted to reread the first 2 books before the midnight release so we could do games and trivia and like kind of like hype myself up to do this midnight release party as someone who read Fourth Wing when it first came out and really enjoyed the premise of it, but found a lot of things lacking. So I reread Fourth Wing. I have a paperback copy. My friend has given me overlays for the story. And the same thing that happened the first time around where I thought I was going to love this book. I thought I was going to annotate this book and be so sucked into the world and the politics. I wasn't. I really wasn't. A lot of it is filler. A lot of it is word vomit. A lot of it is not great storytelling, just of other fantasies I've read. I feel like because this was Rebecca Yarros's first fantasy book, exposition, world building, and characters could have used a lot of work. And like, I don't know, like, you're never going to recreate the magic that was everyone reading Fourth Wing for the first time, but you can really you can try and write a good book. And I just don't, like, it's decent. She's a millionaire, maybe, I don't know, she'll make more money than I'll ever see because of this book alone, even though she's been writing for years and years and years. I thought I would like it my second like time around reading it, and I just don't. I just and it's such a shame because I really like fantasy and I like the premise of what Fourth Wing is trying to be, but I've read better. In fact, I will tell you about it. It's not a book that I read in January. It is a book that I put in a vlog somewhere, I think. If not, I will definitely be putting the second book in a vlog, and that is Flamefall. Flamefall came out in, like, I think 2019. This book is everything Fourth Wing wanted to be. The politics, the dragons, the forbidden romance, the enemies to lovers, the characters, the world building. It's just so much better. And I read Fourth Wing before I read Fireborn, and I was very skeptical about Fireborn, but I loved it. I love this book so much, and I'm reading the second book currently. Fourth Wing, it's fine. It's a book. It's not great. I don't want to bash on it, but I really think, and I haven't read Iron Flame either. I've heard not so great things about Iron Flame, but I do think that the idea was there. But like, it's a fun read. But that's all it is. It's just a fun read. I wouldn't say that this is like one of the best fantasies of all time. I wouldn't put it in that category, and I know some people have, but it is what it is. So I gave Fourth Wing 3 stars the first time I read it and 3 stars the second time I read it. So like, I'm pretty firm in my, ooh, I don't really like this book. It is fun, but it's not up there with the fantasies that I typically read. Last but not least, Collide by Balacabra, 4 stars. Love this book so much. I really need to I tried to convince myself I wasn't a hockey romance girl, I wasn't a sports romance girl, and that is just not the case. I will eat this shit up every single time. It was good, okay? I see why everyone was going crazy about this like a year ago. Slide follows Summer and Aiden, who are both in their senior year of college, I believe. Summer is writing a report to get into grad school, and her professor gives her her thesis and tells her what her report has to be on, which is hockey. She has to study and observe hockey players. She wants to be a sports psychologist, and she will pick any other sport but hockey, and her professor purposefully gives her this because she doesn't want to do it. Meanwhile, Aiden has ended up in a bunch of hot water break. Anyways, Aiden has ended up in a bunch of trouble due to his teammates, and as punishment, his coach puts him on probation and tells him that his probation is contingent on Summer finishing her report and like her thesis. Neither of them wants to be in the situation. Neither of them wants to work together, but slowly they start spending time together as friends. Aiden really likes Summer. He likes how determined she is, how mysterious she is for why she hates hockey, why she won't talk about herself and her past and whatnot. And it's just, this is also a very long romance. It's like 370 pages of a cute contemporary sports romance, and half of it is them slowly building a friendship and connection and building a found family with all of like Summer's friends, all of Aiden's friends, and then they're slowly entering a relationship that is, I don't believe there's a third act breakup in here, because there's so much communication, there's so much whimsy and banter and like, I don't know, childhood trauma that they work through, family trauma that they work through, and I loved it so much, and I gave it 4 stars. The audiobook was phenomenal, so funny. I giggled so many times. This is also in a vlog that is coming out soon-ish, or already out, because I'm trying to read all of my arcs, and I had to read this to get to the second book that made me believe in love, and that is Spiral. If you want to see my reaction to Spiral, that it's in that vlog. I will also be talking about it in my February wrap-up, because this is the first book I finished in the month, so we're just going to put her back on the shelf of books that made me believe in love. And if you want me to talk about these books, I will. Valentine's Day is coming up. She's coming up real soon. In fact, I might, because nobody asked. Those are the 4 books that I read in January. First reading wrap-up of 2025. I'm really excited to do these again. I stopped doing them probably sometime in like late 2023 because they stressed me out. I was always focused on the goal and not like enjoying reading, and what I wanted out of 2024 was to enjoy reading again without setting goals or TBRs or anything like that, and just find what I enjoyed again. and then maybe talking about it later. Now I feel like I can do wrap-ups again and share with you guys what I've been reading, not just like every couple of months, here's the books that I like. I think I can talk about the books I've been reading every single month because I'm not setting TBRs, I'm not setting goals, and I'm occasionally doing vlogs where I have like a little bit of a guide of what I'm reading, but for the most part, I'm tackling my TBR and reading things from the library and what comes naturally to me, and maybe a couple of what's super popular here and there. But I'm so excited, and we are so back for reading wrap ups. So I'm going to leave all my socials at the end, and you can find me somewhere else on the internet. And until next time, happy reading.